The first thing that I want to show you regarding Ashes of Creation is actually going to be the node system. Now, the developers at Intrepid Studios, they know that if they are going to make a successful MMO, that they have to do something different. And the node system is the key of them trying to do something different that no other MMO has done. So let's go ahead and we'll watch this video here real quick, and you can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about, and then we can talk about it afterwards a little bit. All right, here we go.
Hey everyone, my name is Steven Sharif, and I'm the creative director here at Intrepid Studios. Many of you have seen our MMORPG in development, Ashes of Creation. Well, I'd like to take you through part 1 in a series of videos that will explain probably the most important system in the game.
Full day-night cycles?
Node system. This system is what enables players to develop the world around them, affecting everything from the story of the world to the content that players experience. All throughout the world in Ashes of Creation exist nodes. These nodes at first exist behind the scenes, unknown to the players as collection points for activities. These nodes are divided into zones of influence, or ZOIs as we call them, represented here by the different colored areas, and within each zone is a node as shown. A node represents a specific location where a camp can form and gradually be developed into a village, then a town, to a city, and eventually a metropolis. Every activity a player participates in will fall within a specific node's ZOI, and these activities will contribute to that specific node's development. This is important because only so many nodes can be developed, and certain content is locked behind which nodes develop. This can create conflict between different communities that have a vested interest in the development of certain nodes. When you first enter the world, you will arrive through one of the great divine gateways. These portals are remnants of the civilizations that once inhabited this world. Your ancestors fled their home in haste, and now an eternity has passed, and these divine gateways have opened once again, leading you back to the world of your origin. As our players begin to explore their surroundings, they will find a world teeming with valuable resources, complex quests, and monstrous foes. In this case, one of our players has found some ore to mine, which allows...
So let me go ahead and stop it right there. And I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but I just want to put more context into what you're seeing. So one of the things that's making Ashes different than any other MMO, if we use World of Warcraft as an example, you jump into World of Warcraft, you start as an elf, a human, an orc, or whatever, and the land and the zones and everything are completely created for you. It's like you can go to Ironforge, you can go to Stormwind, you can go to, you know, all the towns are there. This MMO, when the players load in for the first time, as he just showed, you are basically loading into a land that basically has nothing. There are no NPC towns, and as the players, you have to build everything. And that goes back to what he was talking about with the zones and the node systems. So let's continue.
Her to progress her artisan class by collecting materials from the world. This other player has begun to harvest wood he needs for building supplies to construct a home on the hillside. As they collect these materials, they are both gaining character experience while at the same time contributing experience to the node that resides within this specific zone of influence. As players participate in more activities, this node will collect enough experience to advance to the next stage of development. All the activity in this area has brought the base node to stage 1 in its development. We call this the NPC stage. Until now, this node was unknown, but the arrival of these NPCs unlocks access to new activities for the players, and as the node continues to progress through each level, it will attract more NPCs, which will provide evolving content that reflects this specific node's location. Let's fast forward to a level 4 node, the town stage. Notice that a new monster is threatening our newly formed town. If this node had not been developed, it may have never revealed itself. The world itself is reacting to the advancement of specific nodes. This town was advanced near forests and mountains, drawing the attention of the sinister creatures that dwell within. If the town had been formed along the coast, perhaps this fisherman would have caught something more dangerous than the fish you see here. The content that exists in Ashes connects in some way to the location and advancement of the node system. It reaches level 5, becoming a city, and some new events are happening in the world. A bridge has been built to connect this area to a neighboring node. This will add a potential trade route that our caravan system will take advantage of, connecting two neighboring nodes and allowing for economic prosperity for players to capitalize on.
So the caravan system, that's a whole different ballgame.
Within the mountain. All of this civilization has awoken an ancient dragon. The higher stage a node advances, the more significant events it draws toward it. Epic world bosses will reflect the development of specific nodes and their location. Our world is designed to react to the players by providing new and exciting chapters to an ever-evolving story. A story that reflects the actions of each server. A story that can change and adapt to provide the players an immersive tale woven by the actions of the community. This dragon is the server's dragon, part of the server's tale, and one which might not be seen on any other server. The players now must react to this evolving threat. Thankfully, these players are up to the task, and taking down this dragon has again contributed to the node, furthering its development.
That's what the game looks like.
From the first stage of a few wandering merchants to the sixth stage of a sprawling metropolis, nodes redefine the world around them, influencing points of interest in the world, quest lines, story arcs, drop tables and resource pools, even the spawn tables for bosses and NPCs across the world. This cycle of nodes leveling, triggering events, and leveling again is the fundamental cycle of growth throughout Ashes of Creation. The world you see reflected on your server will depend entirely on where players decide to plant their roots, and the events and structures that fill the world will be a direct result of where and when nodes evolve. Even we aren't sure where players will take things, which makes this project exceptionally exciting for all of us. We focused here on the growth of nodes in order to show how the base functionality works, but in upcoming videos we'll delve into the sieging and possible destruction of nodes, how player-run governments of nodes work, and how
player-run governments.
I hope you've enjoyed part 1. And if you'd like to get involved in our development, you can register on our website at Ashes of...
So I'm going to go ahead and kill that here for a second. I want to go back to this screen here for a second. So, as he was kind of saying, one of the key features of this game is going to be this node system. And so, as the players go into this world for the first time, as you are questing, mining, killing things in a particular node, everybody works together to level up that node. Once the level of the node gets high enough, there will be an area that where basically the players can build a camp and then into a town, and there's something like 6 different levels going from like a basic camp all the way up to a metropolis-sized city. And these cities are player-run cities. And each city actually has a player-run mayor. And so what it's going to basically be is that you'll be able to form a guild, and a guild can control a town. And actually, multiple guilds can control a town. Or if you're not even in a guild, you can actually declare yourself as a citizen of said town. And so if the town gets attacked by, NPCs or something, you can, defend it and all that. And it gets pretty crazy, and I'm going to show you some more footage here in a little bit. The game not only has a housing system, it has 3 different kinds of housing systems, which is pretty nuts. So let me go ahead and flip screens here for just a second. I want to load up a slightly different video. So this is actually a part 2 of the node system. So let's check that out here real quick.
Hey everyone, this is Steven Sharif, Creative Director here at Intrepid Studios. Welcome to part 2 of our Node series. If you haven't already, I'd recommend you take a look at part 1 in our 4-part video series on nodes. It's a great introduction to the system's overall purpose and design. The Metropolis, the pinnacle of civilization. A symbol of the power and ingenuity of the people, it is wilderness conquered, mastered, and remade in your own image.
Actually, here real quick, I'm going to stop the video. One of the reasons that I'm so excited about this game is, as many of you know, Star Wars Galaxies is my favorite video game of all time. This game is the closest thing that we've had to Galaxies since Galaxies. So, like, full player crafting systems, the ability to run your own shops, and as I mentioned, the ability to run your own towns like we had in Galaxies. The crafting is going to be a major thing, and the way that the resources are done and the caravan system and all that, it's nuts. It's really, really nuts.
The Metropolis is effectively the culmination of the node system. It's the biggest thing that players can bring into being and the final level of civilization's development on this forgotten world. The Metropolis requires a large amount of resources to develop and maintain, and because of how nodes relate to one another, there can be no more than 5 in existence at a time. So you might naturally ask, what does it do? To answer that question, we need to know what civilization offers in general. Every stage of a node's development comes with additional services and benefits, and these services really start to pick up at stage 3, the village stage. One of the foremost services that a node offers is housing, and through that, citizenship. And citizenship is a big deal.
I kind of jumped the gun
There
on
are
that.
3 primary means of acquiring housing. The first is our in-node housing. It's here that players can begin buying static housing. These buildings belong to the node, and as a node levels up, the housing levels up with it. A player will be able to purchase a small one-room house at the village stage. When the node advances up to a town, so does that house. The owner enjoys the benefits of a suddenly larger home. His property size increases, his house is located more towards the center of town, and the square footage of his home has gone up considerably. There's new property available at the town stage, but this new property is more akin to what was available at the previous stage, small and modest. Now when the node advances up further, this time to a metropolis, this all happens again. The player's house, already sizable, grows into a mansion. The number of mansions in a metropolis will be the same number of small homes that were available in this metropolis's village stage. Only those houses that existed at the village level will ever become these main street mansions. So effectively at each stage the node advances, you will see the existing homes advance as well. This makes getting in early for a node pretty important and introduces a real estate aspect to owning in-node property. I know what you're thinking, and the answer...
To stop the video for a second, I feel like most people won't want those first 2 housing options. I think everybody's going to want the third. Now, if you're actually the mayor of a town, or if you're a guild officer or something like that, maybe you'll take one of those, but the third option's way better.
The answer is yes, you can sell these properties. These in-node housing options are at a premium, and we expect these to be hotly contested. But if you want to be a citizen, and there are no more in-node housing spots available, you do have some options. For instance, at the town stage and above, your node's politicians will have the option to open up instanced apartments. These are internal-only spaces which can be decorated to your desire.
Next one.
Different price points will offer different sized apartments, and apartment rentals will also offer citizenship. They won't have external spaces to build out, and they aren't quite as prestigious as in-node housing, but they'll still offer some housing functionality to those who really want to be a citizen of a specific node. The final type of housing available are our freeholds. These plots of property can be built anywhere within a node's zone of influence, and only after a node reaches stage 3. These are sizable plots of land that all sorts of structures can be built on. Inns and taverns, forges, smelters, lumber yards, mills, stables, are all things that you might find on a freehold. These plots of land are where a player can really get creative with their buildings. Because they're built within a node's zone of influence, they grant citizenship as well. The larger the node, the bigger the zone of influence is, which means more freeholds can be built. As you may know, nodes have 4 different types: scientific, economic, militaristic, and divine. These types unlock different buildings at each level of a node's progression, contributing progressively larger benefits at each stage of a node's development. At the Metropolis stage, these benefits are so wide-reaching that a scientific metropolis will feel very different from an economic metropolis, and a divine metropolis very different from a militaristic one. Not only will these cities feel different, but the regions these giant cities belong to will feel different as well. Different types of metropolises will have specific ultimate bonuses. For example, a scientific metropolis will offer fast travel to nodes within its zone of influence. This is big because there is very little fast travel in the game. A world with even just one scientific metropolis will feel and act much differently than a world without it. Similarly, an economic metropolis brings world-changing functionality to the table. Normally, markets are local, and players can buy from and sell to only players who are in the same node. Economic metropolises break that convention, and they have the capability to build a market that integrates with all the nodes in their zone of influence.
So let me stop the video right there for a second, and this could be another case where I'm jumping the gun. So another system they haven't talked about yet is actually the caravan system. So they just mentioned that normally you can only trade within basically the zone of influence that you are in. So if you're a citizen of this city, you can only trade within that zone of influence. If you want to trade with another node outside of the zone of influence, you have to do a caravan. So it's literally you are getting a cart. You put whatever you want to trade. So I don't know, let's say you're doing wood or ore or something. You put all that on a caravan, and you literally have to drive that caravan from one node to the other, and that's how you trade resources. You have to manually escort the stuff there. So that's very, very old school.
Fighting for a far larger market than any other metropolis could hope for. Divine and militaristic nodes also break world convention in one way or another. In other words, everything changes once a node reaches the metropolis stage. Along with those benefits, node type also determines the type of government that a node has. The most traditional government comes from the scientific node, which allows the citizens to come together and choose their leaders. The divine type allocates its leaders through service-oriented quests, quests that directly help others and their node, quests that prove their faith and dedication to the node. Economic type governments are run by an elite oligarchy. These positions can be bought and sold, so if you want to rule an economic type node, make sure your coin purse is heavier than your competition. Finally, the militaristic type is ruled by combat. Whoever are the last ones standing have proven their worth to lead by iron fist and sharpened blade.
So that's actually the caravan system.
These warriors can only be removed from office by citizens who are better and more bloodthirsty than they.
Or at least a version of it.
Once a leader is chosen, they have a lot to do. Outside the basic services that a node provides, leaders must choose what other service buildings to construct, which means they should have a clear plan for what they want to accomplish during their tenure. Some buildings might simply provide a zone-wide bonus to their citizens. Others might provide expanded markets. Some may increase a node's ability to defend against a siege. There is only so much space for these kinds of buildings, so the leadership will need to choose well in order to keep their citizens happy. Along that same line, leaders will need to tax their populations to provide these services, to construct these buildings, and to keep node atrophy at bay. Too much and their populations will abandon them. Too little and the node will decay and de-level. Savvy leaders can supplement their node's income with trade routes and trade agreements with other nodes. Be sure to provide some armed escorts for those caravans. Absentee leaders need not apply, as every leader can be replaced in the next election cycle. Citizens and only citizens reap the reward of the metropolis, gaining the benefits that their taxes pay for. Additionally, citizens can gain titles according to their position within society. Most of these are reserved for those who have been with the metropolis longest, but latecomers can earn their way to the top with enough effort and guile. Only citizens can participate in government and the different election processes. If their leaders have built marketplaces, citizens can set up shop there by purchasing time from the city and paying taxes on the goods they've sold. In Ashes of Creation, what is built can be destroyed, And Metropolises are no different, but we feel that the effort to destroy something must be equitable with the effort to build something. Because of this, the higher level a node is, the more difficult and challenging the task of initiating a siege becomes. That means that sieging a metropolis will be an act of epic and world-shattering proportions. The success or failure of that siege will be written into the history books and likely impact every person on that server. Should it succeed, the metropolis will be deleveled or even destroyed, erasing the global benefits that it once provided, while at the same time opening up the opportunity for another node to take its place. Maybe one of a different type, maybe one led by a tyrant, or maybe none at all. Should that siege fail, that means that the hopes and dreams of the attackers, who should be legion in number, have been thwarted, and the status quo will endure. As I said in the beginning, metropolises are the pinnacle of civilization. They represent this through their size, through their systems, and through their citizens. Their weight is felt across the world, and once one is established, everything will change. For the better or for the worse? Well, that's up to you. I hope you have enjoyed this overview of the Metropolis. We have so much to share with you about Ashes during our development. Everyone here at Intrepid Studios is so appreciative of the support that you all have shown us, and it means so much to have you with us along the way. Please subscribe to our social media outlets.
All right, we'll kill that. So now let me show you some actual gameplay. Now here's the other funny thing. The two videos I just showed you, those videos are 3 years old. All right, and also let me address a couple of the questions in chat. One, I'm going to guess they would have both PvE and PvP servers. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle that. And then, so Starhawk said players are not going to like losing their hard work. Their hard work. It kind of depends what you're talking about, because one of the things they confirmed was, okay, let's say you own a shop inside the city, or you have your house inside the city, and the city gets burned down to the ground. What happens to all your stuff? And they basically said that it all goes into your inventory, so you don't lose any of it. But yeah, I mean, if you think about SWTOR, if you think about World of Warcraft, and if you think about a guild or a group of people working together to build a city of that size, and then another guild comes in and destroys it, one, it's not going to be something that, oh, they come in, 30 minutes later, it's gone. A siege of that scale is going to take a long time, I imagine. If they do it any other way, it's going to be just a disaster. So Rafferty said, so if we wanted to just say, or if we wanted to just stay home and be a shopkeeper, no getting out to help whoever owns this town. So I'll stop right there and say, from everything they've said, if you want to be like in Galaxies, just a 100% crafter shopkeeper, you can totally do that. I mean, you will still have to go out and mine your resources. I guess not unless you want to just buy your resources. But if you're starting out from scratch, you're probably going to have to mine everything manually for a while. So you will have to get out. And you say, which I know being just a shopkeeper would get boring. No, I don't think it will. It really depends what your mindset is. And like in Galaxies, my main thing was a crafter, and I did that day after day after day. But Galaxies had the best crafting system I've ever seen, and I don't think this game is going to have a system as good as that. We'll see, but they're stealing so much from Galaxies, and I think I saw some people in chat saying something about, oh, you really want to know how the government system's going to work, or aren't people going to be fighting over it and stuff? I don't recall that ever being a problem in Galaxies. Maybe it was a product of the time, And I'm sure there's going to be issues from here, you know, every once in a while, but it's like when we said this person was the mayor, this person was the mayor for as long as he wanted to be the mayor, you know. And it's going to be all about, you know, getting together with your friends, getting together with people you trust, and when you have a large enough group that can do that, you're very, very powerful. And so I'm sure that's exactly what we are going to do, chat, once we get into this game. So let me go ahead and show you some actual real gameplay. Now, the video that I'm going to show you now, this is like an hour 45. We're going to skip through it. The big thing to know is that we are looking at, it actually says it at the top of the screen, this is pre-alpha. This game is still two years away at a bare minimum. So nothing you see is 100% done. The first thing I want to show you is, let me just show you some kind of like walking around in the environments and stuff a little bit. And a little bit of the baseline combat. From what I saw, the interface that we're seeing here is brand new. And again, it's not done. Also, okay, I am running this in high definition. But you see, it looks really nice. Do have flying mounts. Apparently, the flying mounts are going to be incredibly, incredibly rare. And maybe this section of video is not the best section. Let's see what else we can find here. I think this guy must be playing a mage or something. Volume's not that loud. But it's gonna be your standard.
Quick work of them.
Whoa. It's gonna be your standard hotkey MMO.
I'm concerned about what we'll find down here, though.
Poisonous gas.
Oh, I don't know if the.
Oof.
Oh yeah, it is poisonous. It is
I
dust.
know. I don't have the thing to clear it either.
Do you just run and like?
Yeah, let's just try to get
those
under
can
it.
heal us. Okay. I'll just dodge around.
Now,
Looks a lot like
normally
Dragon Age. I can see that.
gas would be cleared
Starhawk
by
says 12
a
skills.
ability
That's what they're
that
messing with right now. Whether or not they keep it, who knows?
ability.
I don't know about you guys, but personally, that's one of the things I liked about WildStar. You know, a game
Okay,
doesn't
we
need
can
to
get
have
down here
30 or
further-
40
far
buttons.
enough
I am
here,
fine
so-
with
Yeah, right here,
12.
we're good.
I really like the way that WildStar did it, because
Alex,
WildStar still had like 30-some abilities, but it's like, of those 30 abilities, you have to only slot in 12.
To get down here.
You know?
Oh no!
oh my God! No, run! Oh no.
I was
I'm
trying to keep
rooted.
you guys alive.
Oh.
But yeah, you can see the environments do look really, really nice.
Whoa.
Gosh.
I know combat is something that they're
I do
still
not
working
have a
on.
mage tank.
Your mana
Should
and
give her a
health
mana.
up, which is hard.
Oh yeah, I can give
Something else I want to show you is because in this video they actually show a node leveling up, so I kind of want to show you that.
Get a village, or which village?
Let's do village.
If I can find it in the video here.
GM Alex back to the group and
I believe it
And he
is.
does show off what it's like being a
Yeah,
mayor and
we
actually
can go
building buildings inside the towns and stuff like that.
Him of his
We've
corruption.
cleansed him.
Unfortunately, I only have pulling mess.
We only have mass pull. Hold on,
Well.
I think they spend a lot of the time just kind of running around.
You gonna pick one off?
Can you
That's
solo?
solo.
Yes.
Oh,
They seem to
see?
be having a conference. They don't care about you.
Yeah, they didn't.
You pick the mayor? Yes. There's like a full voting system, just
Oh,
like what
no.
Galaxy's had.
Guild manager.
So here's inside the town.
take a guild.
Oh, I found Nexus. And Envious.
And Chibi Bree.
Should make our guild. Hold on.
Oh yeah, make an intrepid guild.
Ah, I see there's.
See if
an
I can
intrepid
find
dragon
where
down
he actually starts building.
No, vote for Steven.
Yeah.
An item system. And
Oh, here he's buying a player
I
house.
guess we have to wait until there's an elected government.
I just purchased my house.
Oh, did you? Where are you?
By
I don't think I think they have a separate video for the actual
I
freeholds.
can't buy more.
Good.
not doing
I'm
it.
a family
Decluttering
man.
your life.
Yeah.
It's my
Mine's
house.
right off
The other
the
thing they
square.
don't show is they don't show any decorating on how that actually works.
Oh my god, I got my day started.
That's a weird looking mount there. No, the game does not have any
That is
release
so
date yet.
ridiculous. I can't wait till the particle effects get added to it. Like to
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the spot where they're actually starting to build stuff.
Yay!
Oh, I'm the mayor!
Yay!
And as my first official duty.
So the mayor goes up to this town. He goes up to this blank lot, and right there he actually ran into a bug. So
Oh,
it's supposed to
no.
come up with a bunch of building types, but it
We were able to
didn't.
do it last time.
I know.
We're
Here he's
following
fire.
news.
He's got a butterfly now.
Let's go.
All the way southeast.
We'll kind of just watch this for a
Left sign in
second.
the southeast corner is.
But
That's the one that we normally level up.
And just flying east. There you go.
There we go. Whoops.
I keep flying into the trees.
Duck and dive.
Oh no, your nameplate is broken for me, Steven.
It's okay, it's not for me.
It's upside down. It's invading my space.
Yes. That's exactly what I was intending.
yeah, they actually said it during the stream. And again, this is testing. If you ever, test a game, they always do things kind of weird. I think testing flying mounts is always really important because you have to make sure that you can't fly somewhere you're not supposed to, But I think they said that the only people that will have access to flying mounts are, like, mayors or... There's, like, some kind of... I forget the exact wording that they used, but something about, like, royal status or something like that, and I have no idea how to get that or anything about it. Let me see if I... Okay, so here... Okay, I found the spot. So here he's trying to build again, and I think the devs fixed it, so there's 3 buildings that popped up, and so...
Alex.
Okay. Wow, the armory is expensive. Treasury costs 10,000. But we have a 0 balance in the treasury. You know what? Let me go set the tax rate to like 100% and buy some stuff. Hold on.
Ooh yeah, I can buy some stuff too.
All right. Percent.
Let the buying commence.
Oh, the tyranny.
I guess I'll just go buy mounts. They're the most
Yeah,
expensive, right?
Exactly. Buy some mounts. That way we can fill the treasury up and I can start construction.
I'm gonna need a pink one.
I don't think it's taxing.
Now,
me when-
this system in particular kind of reminds me of what they did in WildStar. In WildStar, you could actually build certain things that would open up, like, new vendors and stuff. So it's kind of neat that, going back to the previous stuff that we watched, that everybody in the node, no matter what you're doing, you are working towards the development of these towns. Then once the town is actually up, depending on, again, which level of town you make, you have the option to make additional buildings on top of that. So that's basically what they're doing, is they found, there's open lots, and then the mayor can say, okay, I want to build this kind of building. And then you'll see here in a minute, once he actually puts the building down, then the citizens have to come together to actually supply it. So, like, boom, it put down the foundation, and then everybody has to work together to actually put the thing together. So it's like, it needs 20 wood, it needs this much stone. And so as the people put towards it, it then builds. Which is pretty cool.
And we'll get all the cool armor.
Oh no. I do have 400 stone.
Oh,
I mean,
heck yeah.
wood.
Put that lumber in there. Let's
And I
go.
have 400 wood.
Oh my god. I just transferred 400 lumber.
Oh, it's all done.
Okay, never mind. We completed everything. Now let's hope it finishes construction. Oh my gosh, it did!
Yay! Hooray!
Steven, why do you sound so surprised?
Because yesterday it didn't.
Yeah, we
Bug
tried to do it
fixes.
yesterday.
Well, you have to wait for the sign to populate, otherwise it... There we go.
There we go.
The falling
Rocket
rock.
Punchers Club.
Yay.
Now we get all
It's a
the fat
master armor
What?
smith.
Where? Oh my gosh, buy all the things.
loot. Look at everybody. They're going crazy.
Everyone's like, yes!
Where?
Yes.
Mithril ore?
Better weapons, Norbert.
Let me out, I'm stuck, I'm your mayor.
There's mithril ore we have to find.
But yeah, if there's anybody in chat who's afraid of getting, like, dinked over by your mayor or whatever, you don't have to declare citizenship. That'd be the way around that. But if there's any mayor that would do taxes over, like, 12%, nobody's going to live in that town. So I really don't think you'd have to worry about something like that. Let me jump ahead in the video a little bit to see if there's anything else. So here's another building that they're constructing. Are the house names pre-made or custom? That I don't know. I don't think they've actually talked about that. So here's another version of the caravan system. So again, they're transporting stuff from one town to, or one node to another, so he's got to manually pull it with his horse. And he's got everybody guarding it so it doesn't get attacked. So again, that's kind of how that works. Here they jump into a dungeon a little bit as a group. If I'm going to show you a fight, I'll show you the fight near the end here, where they are fighting a dragon.
Northern Star. Oh, there's raptors in here.
Don't stand in the lava.
Or do. If you want to get toasty.
All right, tank and spank.
course.
Tank and spank, Alex.
But yeah, overall, I thought it was pretty cool. I wanted to show you guys these videos in case you were unfamiliar with this game. Now you are aware of it. But yeah, it's a good 2-3 years out. And I feel like there's still a lot of things that they'll probably change and that sort of thing. Even as far as core systems. But it's definitely one that I think we should all keep an eye on because it's got a lot of really neat ideas. Because they know that they have to do something different if they're going to make any kind of wave in the MMO market. You can't just make another World of Warcraft or, you know, another SWTOR. You got to do something different. I'm going to try and go through chat here again. Does anybody have any questions? I can try and answer what I know about it. Yes, there is lore and story. I forget off the top of my head what the name of the world is, but I know they've named it. But I would say that it's more on the sandboxy side of things where it's about you creating your own story as well. Again, a lot closer to what Galaxies was. It's like Galaxies had a story. It had a storyline called the Cries of Alderaan. But it's, you know, nothing like SWTOR, nothing like World of Warcraft. So it's not going to be like a deep story game. As far as we know. R2, I'm pretty sure they've confirmed it's going to be the $15 sub. But again, it's 2 years out. They might change it. Who knows? Are there quests? Yes, I believe so. Because one of the things they talked about was once you start leveling up a node and it goes from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2, then NPCs come in and they bring quests with them. Also, Cetus13, thank you very much for the T218. I really do appreciate it. Didn't get a chance to shout that out earlier. But yeah, I would say that if you're someone who has only played SWTOR, WoW, ESO, FF14, this is going to be a much different experience for you. Because none of the games I just mentioned, none of them are true sandbox MMOs. What about exploring? This game's going to be big time exploring. Sandbox MMOs in particular are heavier on exploring compared to theme park MMOs. I mean, one other thing I'll tell you about this game is they showed off this game at PAX West, I want to say 2 years ago. And the number one complaint from everybody was that they hated the combat. And so the first thing they did, they're like, okay, I guess we're not using that combat system, and they came up with something new. So I know combat in particular is one thing they're really, really looking at.
Server first.
You only need 100,000 HP. That's all good.
I know, right?
An infinite supply of mana.
Oh, let's go kill the spider dragon.
Will there be microtransactions? It's too early to answer that question.
Do you know the teleport coordinates for that?
No.
I don't think we'll have the answer to that until the game's almost out.
That dungeon, right?
Yeah, it's at the top of that dungeon.
Combat Cole, you're a combat expert. I mean, I would hope so, given, you know,
let's
your
set
name.
the speed. What's the normal speed value? Is what, 640?
Yeah, you're probably right. If it doesn't have a cosmetic store, I'd be surprised.
It's only for the mounts.
Everybody does that anymore.
But other people are on them too.
If they do microtransactions on top of sub, it's dead. I don't know about that.
I found the skin.
I mean, World of Warcraft is just fine with it. SWTOR's fine with it.
That's like the dream catcher. A skin dream catcher.
I don't know about ESO. Well, ESO's buy once, isn't it? Final Fantasy 14. Does that have a Final Fantasy 14? That's a sub game. Does that game have a shop?
I think I'm at the entrance.
To the spider.
Can I try to summon you all? Or
Gail says
alternatively,
it's fine. Yeah.
You can tell me.
Yeah, summon player.
As long as they do cosmetics, it'll be fine. I guess one other video I could show you here super quick is they did another video showing off that Freehold system. Let me find that here real quick. I didn't really take a look at this video too much.
Bus like you'd sit.
Let me see what we got here. Oh, I guess they don't really go full screen in this video. Let's see here. So this is supposed to be a trailer showing off the Freehold system, which that looks really nice. And I'm pretty sure they said in that other video that you can build these anywhere within a node. And that's how Galaxies did it. You could just pop down a house anywhere. I wonder if this is instance-based, though. Maybe it's not. I mean, Galaxies wasn't. I want to see how they're doing the decorating. I really hope the decorating is freeform. Not hook-based like SOTOR is.
Are going to be able to yield some type of results out of those pairings, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then you also see a small area of farmland where some crops are being grown. Crops are intended in ashes to be a rotational system that obviously is dependent on having the appropriate seedlings and/or any of the necessary tools for that farming perspective. And obviously you can devote more land to the farming components of the freehold. You also see there a small pond, which is actually another type of farmable area that we're going to have available on the freehold system, which is essentially a fishery, so to speak. So, fish play an important role from a raw gatherable standpoint, but also, again, because a lot of the components of the freehold system are intended to be processing of raw materials, the fishery allows for a focus on specific type of fish gatherables that may only be gathered through the fishery blueprint. And then you also see a little bit of a social area. I think there's a little bit of like a fireplace or something that's over there. The intent here on the freehold and housing in general, again, is to provide a lot of customization. There is going to be a furniture type profession as well, where furniture isn't just necessarily there for looks, but also may contain certain bonuses if used, on some rotational period as well. Having the higher bonuses per se might be related to the efficiency in the profession of the furniture making that is had. So you can see, there's a lot of props that are kind of placed around the freehold, and this is going to be kind of a grid-based system most likely. That's what we're leaning towards now, which will allow a lot of versatility in the placement of these things. You also see some storage chests in the houses and stuff.
So that answers that question.
Jeff, you have any comments?
Oh, just trying to say that like pretty much everything you see on the freehold is functional, right? That's kind of the whole goal of the freehold system, is to give everything a purpose, and not just have it be like, oh, this is my pretty design, but like it's a design towards something for your character, towards something for the world. So that's the goal, and that's kind of what you're seeing here.
Yeah, and this video was put together by our resident Tristan, who is an awesome, amazing filmmaker, not just in Ashes, but also in real life too. So
Yeah.
well done, Tristan.
You might have seen some whales that he's captured footage
Oh
of.
yeah, he grabbed footage of the. I don't know if many of you guys know this, but we have this.
Yeah, I don't know if they've actually released a list of all the different crafters that you can be. But yeah, there he mentioned you can be like a furniture crafter, and how good you make your furniture can have bonuses. That's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for in a crafting system. So it's like, if I can make a better sword than you can, then my sword is just better, 'Cause that's how it was in Galaxies. It's like you could have 5 people make a DL-44 pistol, but whoever has the best resources, they're going to make a better gun.
ID, right? And there's going to be essentially this husbandry chart that takes into account potential combinations between animals that you have. So there's going to be a little bit of, obviously, trial and error as players begin to explore this genetic, system to determine what yields are possible. And those yields are obviously going to have an element of RNG to them as well. So
Which is
you
good.
may pick up on a more dominant genetic trait within the pairing, or you may have a much smaller chance to unlock a specific breed of species, right? And then those chances obviously get augmented by your advancement within the animal husbandry profession. So, a person who's more experienced in pairing of certain animals and even the specific types of pairings will increase their likelihood, their RNG chances of essentially birthing a unique mount and being able then to sell those on an open auction.
There we go.
They can
Yeah.
also be applied as certificates
I'm
towards
gonna be a
the
mount
construction
maker.
of particular caravans as well. So I know we talked about that in the past a little bit.
Yeah, and of course, there will be some linearness to it in the sense of what you all allow as design allows in that regard. But moving on from here, let's talk a little bit about Alpha 1 and the progress that y'all are making towards that. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the PI test, but I wanted to kind of open it up to allow you to talk about anything else you want to talk about, Jeff and Steven.
We still got a long way to go.
Yeah, we do have a long way to go.
But yeah, I mean, this is like an important first step on that way. So like, this is definitely not Alpha 1. What we're talking about right now, it's a step on the way there. We basically got a lot of the foundational stuff in, and then we'll just continue to work on expanding that until we get to a point where everything is stable enough and solid enough, and there's examples of, not just like a few of the systems, but most of the systems before we're going to be ready for that. So just to set expectations, this is a very important first step, though.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to that, Steven?
No, I would say, I think that, and I express this to PI, like tempering expectations, understanding that there are a lot of first steps necessary before we reach the ultimate, milestone goal, which is releasing Alpha 1. But, each step we take is a very important part of that journey and allows us to, iterate and fix things as we implement new designs and systems.
Yeah, we appreciate everyone working through the bugs and playing and reporting those things for us. So it will be only more exciting when we get to open it up to even more players. So moving on.
All right. I think we'll start wrapping up our Ashes of Creation talk and switch over to XCOM here in just a second. Hey, Redneck, how's it going? Did I ever play ESO? I beta tested ESO for quite some time, but I think I played the launch for maybe a month or two, and then I haven't touched it since. It's something that I need to try at some point. But yeah, just the kind of bottom line on this is I just wanted to kind of show you guys all this stuff to give you a little bit of an update on Ashes. It's coming along quite well, and hopefully they can pull off everything that they're looking to pull off. The last thing I'll show you here super quick is you might be interested to see what the actual classes look like, because from what I remember, they're not actually doing levels. And again, Galaxies didn't do levels. But what they did do is they actually have a class list. And the class list looks like this. You're probably going to be quite surprised at this. It's not a game that's got just 5 classes. It has a ton of classes. So take a look at that. Yeah, exactly how is that all going to work? I have no idea. But yeah, they're definitely doing cuz this game was crowdfunded, and they definitely have some things on their website to try and keep the funding going, and that's what Cetus in chat is kind of pointing out right now. So yeah, they're doing kind of a bunch of weird stuff with here's some things you can buy to help support the development of the game. So yeah, we'll see when it actually comes out. I'm sure they'll have just like a $60 version or whatever. But yeah, really cool stuff. I really hope that they can pull off everything that they're saying. I'm really concerned that they won't be able to pull off everything they're saying. And, you know, we've spent about a little over an hour talking about this game today, and there's so much more that you guys, you know, don't know about that we didn't get a chance to talk about today. There's some crazy things. I mean, they're talking about doing ship combat and the fact that the world actually has multiple layers, which is something I think EverQuest Next was trying to do something like that, but then that game got canceled. So like in this game, you literally have a surface level, and then beneath that, there's like a cave level underneath like everything, I think is what they initially said for their concept. And I can't remember if there was a third level below all that. And who knows, they might even scrap it by the time there's launch. But in the gameplay that we saw there, we did see a little bit of the secondary level. So yeah, I guess we'll see, but I'm definitely excited for it. For those who are watching on YouTube, thank you all so much for watching. Hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your day or evening wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you next time.